Greg, what was your reaction to Joe Woods being let go?
Um, Obviously, wasn't a good feeling for me. I mean, he was one of the guys that picked me as well. So I have a lot of love for him, a lot of respect for him. So it's definitely sad to see him go for sure.
Where do you think you guys go from here now on that side of the ball?
I mean, I really couldn't tell you. I don't really know what defensive coordinators are available. I don't really know too many defensive coordinators. Honestly, I know that's the job for the guys upstairs. So I'm not really too sure.
I know we talked about it throughout the year, but now kind of looking back on it, what do you think kept you guys from living up to your own expectations on defense?
Yeah, man. I just think it's just being consistent, and that's just like every single play. Like we've had a lot of games, where we had a lot of great plays, but those two mistakes can cost you a game. So it's really just trying to find a way to just stay consistent throughout the whole entire game.
So, having said that, do you then go into 2023 thinking you can figure that stuff out and be the defense you think you can be?
For sure. I mean, if you look at the last 5 6 weeks, they were bringing in the meetings every time. We were top two defense in the last 6 weeks of the season. So, I think we figured a way to, fix it and, try to stay more consistent. But at the end of the day, the last 6 weeks don't really matter when, you don't do it the whole season. So it's also another thing is just, we got to find a way to just start out strong.
What do you think some of the
It seems like there were so many talented guys on this defense that didn't necessarily live up to their potential this season. Do you have any explanation for why it went like that?
No, I mean it's a lot of things that could maybe they weren't in the right positions that they wanted to be in. Maybe they just like I said just weren't being consistent. It could be a lot of reasons, so I'm not really too sure on that.
what were some of the root causes? Because the talent was there. You mentioned toward the end of the year you guys showed some improvement, but the reality is there seemed to be a lot of underlying problems. And so I'm kind of curious from your perspective as someone who's in the room. What do you think was the biggest underlying problem that you guys really need to work on outside of changing a scheme or that type of thing?
Thing is honestly just consistency. Like I said earlier, when you can find a way to be consistent every single down, every single play. Obviously, big plays are going to happen. It's part of the game of football, but being able to be resilient, when somebody makes a big play, being able to stand tall and at the end of the day, it's just being consistent and, your technique, doing your job every single play. Like I said, if your job is to set the edge, make sure you set the edge. Like, it's certain things like that where I feel like we weren't doing that the whole entire season.
Is there so many guys talked about leadership this year. There's a lot of leaders in the locker room. From your perspective, what's your take on the leadership thing and where you guys are at, and how do you improve that? Because that seems to be like one of those intangible things you can't quantify, but also at the same time, it's hard to say there's leadership when you guys aren't getting done what you expect.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that, wins and losses, I don't really necessarily believe that's a leadership issue. I feel like our leaders are doing an amazing job. I mean, you can tell, you can walk around the, locker room and see us 7-9, whatever our record is, we still having fun with each other, still being together. So I don't necessarily think leadership kind of shows wins and losses. So I wouldn't say it's a leadership issue, but I mean, obviously it can improve, and I think that's just being with each other more. A whole nother offseason. Obviously, getting Ford back for a whole entire season will be great for us as well. So he gets out there and shows more what he can do. So I don't think leadership was really the problem. I think we honestly had great leadership on this team, and that's stuff that only can improve.
Do you think that guys? Do you feel like guys, especially on defense, felt like they could express themselves if they had a problem with the way that they were, being used, or if they had any kind of an issue? Could they go to Joe and have a conversation about that?
Yeah, I feel like it was pretty much an open door policy with those type of coaches. The coaches we had were open door. If you have a problem, Stefanski's office is literally right there by the meeting room, so you can go talk to him. talked to Joe. It was a pretty much open door policy. So I feel like there was opportunities to go and talk to him.
Greg, you said that you guys don't have a leadership problem, and yet in a game that you guys really needed to have, you had a key guy defensively was not playing on second and third down because he was upset with the game plan. So if that's not a leadership issue in the locker room, what is that?
I didn't. That's not to my attention that happened, honestly. So I kind of couldn't tell you. I don't know who you heard that from, but I kind of don't know. Yeah, so I kind of never knew that. That's, when in games I don't kind of pay attention to who's on the field. I pay attention to the guys that's out there with me and just playing. So I kind of didn't even know that.
So do you feel like the leadership was good all year? It got better as the season went along, or from the beginning it's been solid?
I mean, when you lose key guys, especially as a defense, when you lose key guys like Anthony Walkers and Sione Takis, like, there's guys that got to step up and, get into that leadership role. So I think it was definitely great at the beginning. Obviously, when you lose key guys like that on the field, it's going to dip a little bit because you got to find new guys to go out there and try to find a way, to rally the guys. So I feel like the leadership was always there. But like I said, once again, when you lose key guys like that, you got to find new guys to go out and, be more of a vocal leader out there.
You guys had difficulty taking the ball away the first half of the season, but that got a lot better. What was missing to make that happen early in the season?
Yeah, I honestly just think it's just keeping things more vanilla. I mean, like when you got the talent that we have on the defense, like kind of just, calling base stuff. Just allow us to go out there, keep our eyes on the quarterback and, just play ball. So I feel like, Joe did a great job in the second half of the, year with just like realizing like, what, all right, maybe we don't need to call everything. Let's just, shorten the menu down and just let those guys go out there and play. And I think when we did that, you can kind of see how the takeover started changing around.
Greg, you mentioned number 4 earlier, and obviously his arrival and then the suspension kind of shaped the season. Then it shifted again, right, after week 11. Did that have a bigger impact maybe than you guys realized at the time, waiting for him, than this complete kind of transformation once he got eligible to play?
For sure. It was definitely a big impact. I can't really speak for the offense, but I can say, like, Jacoby and Deshaun are two completely different quarterbacks. Jacoby's one of those pocket passers. He can get out, obviously, and, run for a first down. But with Deshaun, like, I feel like the offense is different. So you kind of are asking guys to kind of run two different offenses in one season. So can't really speak for them, but that's just, from my viewpoint, that's kind of what I've seen. So I definitely think it played a crucial part, but, at the end of the day, I think the guys did a great job in picking up, what he was trying to do and things like that, and I can see the evolution and see them, rising. Obviously, it didn't start off great. My guy was out for, 2 years, so I didn't expect, him to go out there and throw for 500 yards, but I could just see his evolution, and I could just see, going into next season exactly he's going to be back to the Deshaun Watson that we know and we love.
Do you guys think that, or do you think that there is any kind of a discipline issue on the team, knowing that some guys got benched for certain games or for parts of certain games? Is that something that has to be really looked at hard in the offseason?
Yeah, for sure. If that stuff did happen, I feel like that is definitely on us players. I wouldn't even necessarily put it on the coach. I think it's on us players to really, as much as we thought the leadership and as much as we thought we were a tight-knit group, I think, we got to find ways to really bring everybody together. At the end of the day, if you don't like the position you're in and stuff like that, you got to find ways to, still go out there, play for your brothers. And, you saw that type of stuff, maybe after the game or something like that. So I definitely think that's something within us players that we can do a better job for sure, just making sure everybody is happy or, if they're not, find ways to make sure, that they're being used the right way.
Did Joe address you guys today?
Nah, he did not. Yeah.
Greg, when you talk about this defense moving forward, just your opinion, what style, scheme, like what kind of thing do you think would really work here for this defense?
Honestly, really haven't really thought of that. It's a great question. I really thought of that too much. Honestly, I think it's just going to be kind of the same thing, just keeping things, more simpler, allowing playmakers to go out there and make plays, keeping eyes on the quarterback. things like that. Kind of the stuff we were doing towards the end of the season. I think, going into next season, kind of, reviewing from the beginning of the season, the second half of the season, and seeing what we did well, seeing things we struggled with, and, kind of focus on the things we did well.
Where for you, how would you assess your growth as a young player this season, and what are you aiming for next season to grow even further?
Yeah, honestly, just playing a new position was, challenging at the beginning, but, I think I did a really good job, just kind of getting comfortable out there, doing things like that, and, just going into next season, just hoping I take that next step. I was looking forward to doing that this season, but obviously, things happen, and, you kind of get put into different situations, so I had to, do that mentally, but, next season just really solidifying myself in the league as, that guy is definitely what I'm looking forward to next season.